There was a Republican in my house yesterday. I've taken 5 showers already, and I still feel like I need to power wash the walls. Wash all that hate off. Dyze in your house.
Nobody likes me. Nobody likes me. But that's okay, cause I don't like y'all anyway. And I don't like y'all anyway.
When I used to joke about rising fascism in America and the fall of democracy, I really thought I was being, over the top.
Staten Island niggas still puffing dust blunts.
Representing Staten Island.
I mean, all kidding aside, I'm a high school dropout. I never thought the words autocracy and kleptocracy would be in my vernacular. I just never thought that would be a thing.
Staten Island niggas still puffing dust blunts.
It's very, very difficult and frustrating to have progressive ideology living on Staten Island, or as I call it, North Texas. Example, your weed dealer pulls away and he's got a Trump Pence hat sitting on his back windshield. This is real life.
Representing Staten Island.
Staten Island niggas still puffing dust blunts.
The most important thing you can do for me listening to this podcast is to not get sidetracked with distractions and nonsense. There is a person occupying the Oval Office who has committed crimes every single day of his life. And the only way to combat this is not to look at polls, it's to go vote in November.
Staten Island niggas still puffing dust blunts.
Representing Staten Island.
Want to hear a little story about some of those people who are going to be voting in November? I'll tell you. People that value guns over children. People who think the South will rise again. People that think ending slavery was a failed experiment. White nationalists.
Representing Staten Island.
Staten Island niggas still puffing dust blunts.
Be a part of ending the rise of fascism and the fall of democracy in America by keeping it locked to East Coast Radio, Dyze in your house, and hit the polls in November. Hey, yo. Who's in the house? Dyze in your house. What is the word, peeps? What goes on? It is Friday, and we are back here on East Coast Radio with another action-packed edition of Dyze in your house. This is the pre-show, the post-show, and the prelude to the long-form J Parks podcast, which comes out every Monday on your favorite podcast mediums. On the J Parks podcast, we dive deep into the Mueller probe. We talk about the high-end corruption, the high crimes and misdemeanors that are going on right now inside the Oval Office and going on throughout the fascist regime that controls our country right now. But it's all right. It's not okay, but it will be okay if we can all band together and take our country back in November. It's very important that we do that. Before we get started on my little soliloquy I got for you today, we're just going to tell you what you need to do if you want to become a East Coast Radiohead. That's right. You could become a member of the East Coast Radio community, and you could help me out. You can help me in getting this whole podcast thing. You know, you want more podcasts, you want bonus content, you want personalized artwork, you want phone calls, you want to have input on the podcast, you want to say, hey Jay, I know you're going down this road, but we got something going on over here that you might not have known about. Do you want to get first dibs? Do you want to get the podcast a day early? I'll tell you how you can do that. Just go to patreon.com/JPorks. You do that, and that's where you become a East Coast Radiohead. There are 3 different tiers that you can join. You can be a pork star. You can join East Coast Radio Extra, or you can get the ultimate J Porks package. All 3 of those are reasonably priced. And every month, with all of those, with all of the tiers, you will receive at least one personalized artwork from me monthly. Now you might say, "Hey Jay, you're not an artist." Well, I used to write on walls in the streets of Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I got some stuff. I can draw, and it's gonna be fun, and it'll be unique to you. So what you got to do is go to patreon.com/JPorks, and just check it out. And if there's any suggestions you have, like if you say, "Hey Jay, you would get more Patreons if you did this," let me know, and I will, adjust as needed. It's an organism. It's ever changing. It's not something that's set. So just let me know what I need to do. Give me examples on things I would do to help, more people get to the podcast, and I will follow your lead. So just let me know. Okay. Guys, yesterday was really hard for me. Yesterday, we were housing a conservative in my house. That's right. My mom's brother. I don't want to get too personal with this. But let's just say this. I have an uncle who has no job. He's a hairdresser who has 2 customers. He has no job. He does drugs. Now, when I say drugs, I mean, I know he smokes weed, and I know that he's probably on some sort of opioid painkillers right now. Not saying he does meth or heroin, but we have somebody without a job, with no money. We have somebody that does drugs, and we have somebody who is a homosexual. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love my uncle. But he's also a conservative. A Fox News right-wing wingnut. And I gotta tell you, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense how somebody can take penis in the butt, but support Trump and Pence. Pence is somebody that thinks gay people should be eradicated and sent to conversion camps. So how can you sit there and be somebody who has all of those qualities of life and be conservative? Well, you can be white, and you could be privileged, and you could not have, friends that are black, friends that are brown. You cannot have friends that are marginalized. But then again, it's hard for me to understand because he's gay. So and that side of my family is Italian. It's not like he said I'm gay and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're welcome in the family." This guy went through years of not being accepted, But he finally found his ticket in. Fox News. So it started a couple of years ago when he's over here telling me that Obama hates Jews. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's really gone off the deep end. So yesterday he comes here to cut my mom's hair. And he was supposed to come at 12. I left. I left my house. I went to the mall. I pretended I was going to get a job. Everybody, we all know that I'm waiting for that unemployment. I got about 2 more. I think I got 1 more week until I get my unemployment. Again, friendly reminder that my last day of work was June 13th. And it is July 27th. And I have not received not 1 cent of unemployment. Just take note of that. And again, what's my job? Am I a stock boy? Do I work the register at Bed Bath & Beyond? No. I help forward the education of the youth of America by working with special needs kids, okay? I'm not saying give me priority, but I work for an agency, and unemployment told me that the agency pays my unemployment. Let's go. So I'm in the mall. I don't know if you heard, well, you haven't heard. The Staten Island Mall, they've added, like, they doubled the size of it. They added a Dave & Buster's, a Shake Shack. There's going to be an AMC movie theater. So the Staten Island Mall, which is like a mile away from my house, is about to be a lituation. And there's about to be over 80 jobs available there. So I might go work there. But me going there yesterday was not to go get a job. Me going there yesterday was to try to avoid the conservative right-wing wingnut that's going to be in my house. Because it's hard, and I understand family is family. And people have this thing where they say, listen, Jay, like, it's okay to be angry at people that support Trump, but at the same time, family is all you got. And I'm sorry. That whole family is all you got line, that quote's accredited to somebody, first name bull, last name shit. Alright? That's not accurate assessment of the situation. I don't care who you are. If you stand there and listen, if he would have walked in my house and said, Jay, I believe in conservative values, which would be crazy, why are you a gay drug user then, but with no job or money. But if you would have came in and said, listen, Jay, I'm a fan of, like, conservative values, but I don't like Trump. I held my nose when I voted for him. That would be fine. I would give the man a hug, and I would say, you know what? That's cool. That's fine. You know what? I don't agree with it, but at least you're admitting your wrongdoing. But this guy, much like the leaders of the fascist regime, they double down and triple down on everything. Like, for instance, this guy today is tweeting, and yes, I know I've mentioned his Twitter account before, because he has more followers than me, and it pisses me off to no extent that this guy has more followers than I do on Twitter, and he's a right-wing wingnut who's an idiot who knows nothing about anything. But that's not what he doubles down. So I'm hanging out at the mall. I'm literally sitting on a rocking chair outside Shake Shack, just hoping, waiting for my brother to text me that the coast is clear. So I make it back to the neighborhood. I make it back to my block around 2:30, and that's when I get a text that he's just arrived. So I had a doobie in my pocket, and I decided I'm going to walk around my neighborhood. I'm going to walk around the block just a couple of times. Well, during one of those trips walking around, I dropped my doobie somewhere. So I had to retrace my steps all around the neighborhood. I ended up walking 6.5 miles yesterday. I walked 6.5 miles to avoid my conservative uncle because I did not want to jump across the room and knock all of his teeth out for being somebody that ruined my country, for being someone that put my future in jeopardy by being so irresponsible and going to cast a Trump vote and sitting here supporting Trump 18 months, 2 years after the fact. Listen, man, this Trump train's hitting the wall pretty soon. Cohn, Mueller, Butina, the NRA. Where's Dana Loesch? No comment from the NRA? That's rare. Usually the NRA comments on everything. Usually the NRA comments on everything that happens in terms of the political sphere. And then they try to, you know, whiny liberals are trying to take our rights away and stuff like that. NRA's got no comment on Maria Butina. NRA's got no comment on the funneled $30 million into the NRA. It's just crazy. And like, I could sit downstairs and I could talk to people and I could tell, I could sit there and talk to my uncle, okay, here's what we got, here's what we got, here's what we got. And sense and facts don't work with these people. Like, for instance, Republicans hate welfare, right? Republicans hate free money. They hate it so much. They hate people getting free money. But when the tariffs hit the farmers were written a check for $12 billion. The farmers don't want welfare. The farmers want to work. That's not me, that's Ben Sass. I'm quoting Ben Sass there. So it's much like this, it's much like the immigration debate. Like, oh, we can't let immigrants in. Okay, when was the day that immigrants weren't allowed in? Show me the date. It's like, oh, Republicans are about fiscal responsibility until we need $12 million for farmers. And like, if the crop farmers need $12 billion, what about the steel workers? What about the clean coal people? The people cleaning the coal, like the people clean the doves in the oil spills. What about that? And there's no other people? What about the corn huskers? I guess those are farmers. Pig farmers. What about the people in Idaho? What about the wheat? What about the lobsters? The lobster people in Maryland and Maine? What about those people? When's their bailout coming? So are we gonna bail out all these industries now? Instead of voting for somebody who had policies in place that would help these industries? Not hyperbole and not just words? I use the best words. Bing, bang, boom. What? Who talks like that? Besides, I know I talk like that, but I'm an uneducated asshole. I mean, seriously. But the real thing about my uncle is, how can you be somebody... How can you support any regime that contains Mike Pence if you're gay? So my uncle he's doing both sides of the gay thing here. He's taking the good parts of being gay, the parts he enjoys, but the parts he doesn't enjoy, like gay, like the other parts, the hard parts, like fighting for gay marriage and fighting for equality, he's not on board with that. He doesn't care about any of that. Living his life, being gay, secretly underground, whatever. It doesn't need to be... Like, I'm not saying that the guy wants to get married, but, like, if you're a gay person, wouldn't you want equality for everybody? I'm a weed smoker. I want weed to be legal. I don't want to break the law anymore. And, like, I understand that, some people's argument might be, Jay, who cares? Like, married, living together, what's the big deal? Well, to some people, it is a big deal. But my uncle doesn't care about that. He cares about tax cuts that don't affect him. Jobs numbers that don't affect him because he has no interest in getting a job. And this isn't a guy that's... this isn't a guy that's unskilled. He has, like, the barber's license thing. Like, he used to have a barbershop. Not a barbershop, a hairstylist place. He can easily walk into any... Like, getting your hair cut is not a job being replaced by computers right now. That's not a job being replaced by robots. You can walk into any salon and get a chair and have a job and make money. And then you can vote Republican and I'll feel you on that. I'll be like, okay, this motherfucker just wants to keep every last dollar because he's, a white privileged person who just wants to keep every dollar. Like, that wouldn't make it okay, but that would make it make a little more sense. I haven't gotten, again, my last day of work was June 13th, and I have not gotten an unemployment check, and today is July 27th. We are 6 weeks, and I have not received unemployment, and I still have more money than this guy. And I'm still in a better financial position than this guy. So I just don't see the reason to vote for Trump for him besides xenophobia, a fear of brown people, and a constant eye on Fox News and Sean Hannity and Lauren Ingraham and Tucker Carlson. So when I came home yesterday, I was forced to come home when he was still here. I said hello, but then I went upstairs. I'm upstairs watching Deadline White House with Nicole Wallace. Always fun times in the 4 o'clock hour on MSNBC. So I'm sitting up there, and they're talking about the cable, because we have Charter Spectrum here. So he's like, oh, we have Spectrum too at my place. And I hear my mom say, oh, wow, really? And he's like, yeah, check if the channels are the same. And she goes, what channel do you want me? What channel? And he says, try 44. What channel do you think 44 is? Well, for those of you not in the Staten Island, Brooklyn area who have Charter Spectrum, Channel 44 is the Fox News channel. Also, Channel 44 is the first channel that came out of his mouth. Not, you know, ESPN. Not TNT. Well, TNT's a superstation. There are always going to be 3, but not Nickelodeon, not MTV. The first one out of his mouth was the Fox News channel. And I was texting my girlfriend, like, as that was going on, like, can you believe this motherfucker's gonna turn on Fox News in my house? They didn't turn it on. But, like, that's where his mind goes. This is the person. And he's not a bad guy. You know? He just ruined my future. That's what he did. Right, we got old white people. We got old white people going to the polls.
Old insurance kind of sucks.
Got old white people going to the polls. Voting for policies that are going to have a deep impact on what happens in the future in terms of Social Security, terms of healthcare, terms of immigration. Like, immigration helps the economy. So what are we doing? Locking kids in cages. Sorry if I don't see the math there. Sorry that I don't see how that works for anybody. But anywho, I can only talk about my family so long. There's only so much I can talk about my family. And listen again, if you want to hit me with the argument, Jay, family is family, and you need to just, you know, turn the other. No, I don't. No, I don't. I was the bigger person by not going over there and pounding a new hole in his face, okay? That was me being the bigger person. Because I am sick and tired of people supporting fascism. People supporting nowadays Nazis, okay? Because the people supporting nowadays Nazis need to talk to some of the people that, you know, are related to people that had half their family killed by real Nazis, okay? That was a real thing. That wasn't Benghazi. That wasn't emails. That was a real thing that happened. And my Aunt Brunya walked around with the numbers tattooed on her arm till the day she died, to remind people to not get into this again, to not let something like this happen. And what is happening? It's happening again. And anybody that thinks it isn't, if your family hasn't been killed by Nazis, take a seat, okay? It's just like I don't want to hear white people talking about how slavery wasn't a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, your ancestors didn't experience it. So you can't comment on it. It's disgusting and appalling. Anyhow, what are we going to be talking about on Monday? Got a lot of stuff. Maria Butina was in court. She is the Russian spy who infiltrated the NRA. Michael Cohen is working on, I don't know if he's working on a plea. He leaked some tapes. There's a lot to digest there. Manafort, in the Manafort trial, 5 new witnesses are getting immunity. Can that be good for the fascist regime running our country? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that can be good. And we also have, this is breaking as of like last night, this Thursday night, Friday morning. Claire McCaskill was getting hacked into by Russians. But there's no evidence to say they infiltrated. And we're going to talk about more about it on the Jay Porks podcast on Monday. Jay Porks, Dyze in your house.